Sorry guys, Eddie's
sorry,
speaking from a very dark hole. We can't hear him, man. We can't hear Eddie.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, today's guest is the man himself, the big man himself, Tony Njuguna. You guys have seen him from the times of Ridiculous and all the way now even being a judge for different comedy sessions. So we just want to welcome Tony. Tony, just say hi to us, then we'll take it away with questions and answers.
Hi all, I'm happy to be on this forum. As the first live stream, I'm streaming from Shags. I think it's the first one in this Shags of mine. So let's hear him to my place in the So thanks.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'm just trying to see what Eddie is saying. So guys, just keep your questions coming in to Tony. So we know Tony from the times of, as I said, Ridiculous. He recently got a baby called Quarantine, quote unquote. No one likes that name except him and myself right now. Tony has experience in different spaces. In the past weeks, we've had different guests from different creative backgrounds, from copy to digital to different spaces, including even journalists. So today, Tony, just a question I will start with myself. Moving from, or rather having a space where you're doing both comedy as a brand yourself, at the same time at some point being employed, how does that work? How do you live being let's say a two-faceted person?
Okay, at first I didn't know what advertising was. I remember the first time 1998, there was this campaign for a trust, for the trust condoms, the Semanami campaign. So the first time was called by the then creative director, Andrew White, was telling us, guys, come to us, there's some radio ads you need to do. As you used to think, okay, we are performing for a radio studio. So it's okay, fine. We need a stage, you need 3 mics, we need a speaker. No, it's a radio ad. I'm like, what do you mean? So we ignored him for around 3 months. Then when he went and he told us, no, we actually wanted to help create some ads. We were like, how does this work? And they said, if you come up with a good ad for the concept, I think it was 7,500 and voice over another 7,500. So when he mentioned the word money, then that changed the entire conversation. Then now we quickly understood what advertising is supposed to be. So we asked him, how many ads do you need? He said, as many as you can. So in our heads, we are going to 2,500 times as many as we can. So in 3 days, I think we had over 42 ads, out of which, as we progressed, 34 are approved. So that was the beginning journey of what advertising is. So balancing the beauty of what advertising helped was how to format even your shows themselves. I know how to deliver a joke faster. Do the training of client. I need to say this and this and this. Say it in 10 seconds. So that also helped sharpen our storytelling, in a manner of speaking. So and a creative is a creative. So it's not juggling. Once you're creative, you're a creative. I'm a creative. I've been before comedy. I used to play 5 instruments. I've got my own alto sax. I used to play bass. I used to play drums, keyboards, percussion. So comedy. Then now
nice.
to creative. So an artist is an artist. Yep.
So Tony is like an all-rounded person, from music to digital to everywhere to creative. That's just a lot to be in as one person. How does this like come down to people around you? How does it work for you?
Okay, it's fun because not the bigger one of all those, of course, was the comedy, which has its own pros and cons. It has opened a number of doors for me. Others, it has also blocked. Nobody will take you seriously. You're still joking. Somebody cuts you in tao, vibaya, you're about to get angry, says, "I would check, I back, yeah, I want to check," and these are questions of people find you smoking. Yani wewe vuta sigara eating. Yani wewe kula, you know. But minus that, I'm more of an introvert. So yeah. So I just managed to balance like that.
That comes in really interesting because usually, like even right now, how famous people are treated, you get some people expect different things about you, like does Rihanna go to the toilet? Very random, weird things that you just keep on questioning, like how
Yes.
do people even think about someone being famous and everything. So meanwhile, before I ask my next question, I'm seeing Ken is in. He says a very big fan of Tony Njuguna. Mad respect, manze. Nice to see you, Ken. Thank you for tuning in. So yeah. So that you've said something about like people meeting you and asking, like people want to, let's say, defining the character on TV and the character of Tony as a person. On TV, you come out like a very exciting person, a jokey person, a fun person, but in real life you say you're an introvert. So how is it even how do you even deal with the fact that I have to create a personality for the people? So who are you as Tony and who are you as Kibaki? You know, like how do you create a balance for those two?
I think Tony is a person who was an aspiring priest. I went through the seminary, a lot of meditation, so that helps me keep out of that quietness. University, that's when I met with all drama, taekwondo, comedy, everything. Tony also, at the time of the university, after university, I was employed back as a administrator of the Creative Arts Center. Right then, I worked under the late Professor Senoga Zake, worked under Ibuga, worked with Mulwa, Mateshe, and then we were basically charged with coming up with the culture, with the famous culture week events that used to happen at KU. So I used to be the one coordinating all those groups and ensuring that the quality of performance is up there. So Tony the person is just a simple guy who just likes being real, dreaming of being a farmer, raising 6 children. The quarantine corona is the 6th one. So, and that's who I am basically. Yeah, and the rest is just what all other creatives are. We are just
So I've
after
heard you
the
say
work.
something. I've heard you say something
What?
I put on hold for like towards the end of wanting to be a priest to having 6 children. Congratulations. then something also stands out is how you say that you've tried so many things such that this is funny. So in a space where you've said that you've really tried so many things, and part of the questions you've had in the past weeks is about like putting your eggs in one basket and how much is too much, and how do you combine like different parts of yourself to still be able to live your purpose, and again main focus is make money out of it and take care of your family out of it, you know, like what's the yeah, how do you, where do you put your eggs, how do you create your
Before,
portfolio?
before at the onset of advertising, I think joined in '98, late '98. That's when I joined Scanad. There was a nice balance between so they used to allow me, so I could go do my shows across in America, so days of performance, that used to be free. When you're going there, you still work as you go along the road, but you know what advertising is. So the more and the more and the more, and before then, I used to do that performance, and also used to do host some radio show, Dr. Kemenyi with Karol Mutoko at Kiss, every Tuesday and Thursday. So it just has to be, all your time is taken up. It's just how you arrange your time. So Tuesday, Thursday, najua by 7 niko Kiss, by 6:30, then going to advertising, then jioni you have a show. Then now you probably have to start shooting some skits for the following day, for the following weekend show. So it used to be a very all tight kind of life around. Juggling, yes. Sometimes you drop the ball on one, then you have to pick this other one, then drop the other one, then try balance them. Then before you know it, life taught me now to, the only way you can do is just go the background. So I put my saxophone is still under the bed. So, and it has been under there for a couple of years. So I think we all know how demanding advertising is. So it doesn't give you space to keep jumping around. But yes, and then with the more responsibilities of such, then it became much more heavier. So that's how all those other talents went away. So I just remained with advertising. So which now I'm combining with farming, and hopefully I'll move from advertising to farming. So basically it's hard
We
to
can't
balance all
wait.
that. Yeah.
We can't
So
wait to see Farmer Kibaki.
hey, I've got
Okay. Oh,
a good cow farm here. I've got a good cow farm. I've got I'm bringing
Show us
goats. I've got
round.
chicken. Sorry.
What are you farming? Are you farming cattle or are you farming mahindi and the foods and everything? Or everything?
I'm going for animal husbandry, the typical Kikuyu style. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. Nataka kuweka ng'ombe. No, ng'ombe niko nazo tick, rabbit tick, chicken tick, hizo bata chita water, batane geese, hiyo tick. I want to put in. I want to go for bees and I want to go for pigs. So 7. Animal husbandry pure.
Oh.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. So let me just read a few comments that are coming in. Atieno is saying it's a pretty dark hole. I think that was for Ashioya, but at least we've closed that hole. Then before we read the question to Tony, Wycliffe is asking, why are you smoking on the show, Bwana Tony? It is what it is, bruh.
Nimemaliza, it's fine.
It is finished. No, it's no problem. I'm chill with it. So anyway, one more thing before I get to the question that is up. You've talked about you juggle until you focus on advertising. So do you think like self-branding, being able to know yourself as a gift with the gifts that you have, does it make you give you a higher space even in terms of employment or in terms of your specialization? And then in a case where someone does an opportunity of like screen time and other spaces to be quote unquote famous, what other ways can someone use to become like a bigger brand that is more marketable in an employment space?
I think with the onset of the digital space, that allows a lot to juggle that to be an influencer. It's easier now. The old format of looking for other stuff to do was more tedious. You had to go to look for a location, use those old cameras, long editing time or anything. Now with the technology, you can simply, like what we are doing now, you can simply create your own content, because content is key and content is the future. You can create your own content and still do it from just behind your desk as you do your normal advertising, your copy or your art or whatever. It's much more easier now to create that. So I think, and then also, but most importantly, I normally say as a creative, you must have your own distinctive point of view when it comes to creativity, your own distinctive way of storytelling. I remember a long time when you were just getting to the industry, all promos used to be in English. The thought used to be in English, and then the work of the creatives of the 90s and the year 2000 and such, our work was to translate European thoughts. Give me a name for fun. Is it write this? So you used to write concepts of other people before now. When it started slowly turning advertising to mean to Kenyans, the first was Jaza Kikapu for Coca-Cola. We started having slogans like Firestone, CV 2000, Maisha Marefu ya Kishua. Then suddenly that connection of Kenyan advertising quickly picked up, because now you are talking to a language that our audience was understanding. And slowly by slowly, as they say, even in your area, don't be a translator. And that's what I find with most of our creatives down, is that most of them will go like, okay, let my boss tell me what he's thinking. I just translate for him, rather than write to your own mind, write to your own feel. When you're writing what you're writing, think about how will your neighbor in Sharks understand it? How will somebody in Nairobi understand it? Is there anything that's unique? The only way you can get uniqueness of the Kenyan advertising is if you use the Kenyan insight to build international work, and that's how all other countries have grown. That's why you'll find like most of expatriate creatives will tell you, like they keep quoting ads from their place, and I think we've had our own shares, kind of, like in India, there was this good Bajaj ad. They were very happy. Yeah? Like, okay, fine. If that's India, so you go back and do it in India. So what is it about us Kenyans that we can mine those insights? Mining insights will need a lot of dedication. You have to be always open and out there. I remember before, when I started, I used to keep in contact with what's happening on the ground. Every month, went to every 3 months and on. I used to have a mirror session with in Buruburu phase 1. I get what Wakarubangi South Nachukua. So we just the whole night we're just talking what's new, what's happening on the ground, what's the new feel, what's the new swag, what's the new language. I could have. So I used to have 3 points. I used to have in Buruburu phase 1, Dandora. This one na Ngara, where I grew up. So always, anytime you have to keep going, observing people, be in an area where insights are easy to pick up, study more the people around you. And that's how you'll get the uniqueness of Kenyan advertising, which then can create that distinct thing. We found a number of experiences where you go, how we started off. Being a creative director was not that easy. You had to, because during our time, anything that had a TVC was automatically for the expatriates. Your job is to translate the Swahili word for that, or just do a small radio ad, yeah. And even then, you'll scribble something in English for you to translate. So we had to start going that thing of can we be. So I started cleverly just going to say, excuse me, can we go with two ideas? So you work on his idea first, then you work on yours also. And when you go and present on the table, the kind of feels, no, I like this one. This one is more Kenyan than the other one. So slowly by slowly, we started winning our space in that, so that, because and also now the heads of these brands are more open. They are not like the old yesteryear brand managers. They're also on social media, so they can understand new ideas. So it's upon us as creatives to create our own touch. It's upon us as creatives. If you think like Harambee Stars doesn't have a expatriate footballer, then why do you have expatriates in Kenya? I mean, what's wrong with us? Yeah, and that's why I think the ground is changing now. That we should be the ones who should be expatriates across Africa, rather than have expatriates coming to guide what is happening. And I think that's the bigger dream to live it. So yeah, so I normally try and tell my team. Yes.
So if I understand you really well, you're coming from a point of having more of a human-centered design, talk to people in their language and get that one thing about you that makes you different from another creative. So if I get you right. So yeah. So the next question that's coming up is, Atieno is asking, looking at the young creative lads who come to your office, does their immense talent ever tick you off wrongly in a way that they could easily replace you in terms of being funnier?
No. In fact, that brings a lot of variety. Yeah, I don't have job insecurity, and the more variety you have, the better. Even some you try and even develop that comedy. You try to develop that. I've worked with a number of comedians on a number of scripts and everything. So it's great, and let somebody be who they are. I'm not scared about that, because if I'm happier, it means they will not replace me. They replace the next expatriate next to me. Yeah. So you see the same dream of building. At my age now, it's just a question of, I'm in my last years now. So no, I don't. In fact, I wish I had more of them coming up. Yep.
That's really kind to be able to lead more creatives to become to also leave their impact in their spaces, because so much about you has been learned from different creatives, even to the general public. So that's really good to be able to do that for people. So there are many more questions coming in. So let me just read it out. So another question, let's hold the question first. So Ken says that it's so true to be unique. Kenyans know their own market. This is very true. I agree with it, because no one knows your language better than you. No one understands your food culture more than you do. So it's be the voice to share that art and be able to share it in a way that is more relatable. And the more relatable, so this quote that I read, that relating to other people is the basis of our development. So if you can't relate to people around you, then it means whatever you're communicating might not be coming through straight to how you want it to come through. So even in your space, use that space to be a light of better communication, better education, better anything that you want to be part of. So I agree with you, Ken. The next one, Ken also says that expatriates are taking over everything, especially the creative department. There's always Mzungu Ramuindi in those high seats. Yeah, that's a very, I don't know if I have any comments on that. I see, yes, because most of the places you see that there's a variety of people working in spaces. And I think it just comes back to us on how much are we fighting for our spaces, and also how much are we using the knowledge that we have to also just stand in and fill these spaces by communicating what we believe in, not just as being just Kenyan doesn't give you the right to be there, but being a distinctive, creative, being someone who speaks your truth in your own language might make a difference in that space. So I think we need more Kenyan creative directors. What do you think about that, Tony?
I think also for us, as you rightfully said, it's not just enough to be Kenyan to win that ticket out there. There's a lot of work. We should also start why are these Mzungus and Muindi seated there? Because they have a certain discipline to work that not most of us have in terms of um, of of even newer ways of doing stuff, in terms of keeping deadlines, in terms of researching newer trends out there, in terms of what is the new news in everything I'm doing. Sometimes you find a creative saying that I've been a creative for over 20 years, but that's probably 1 year's experience repeated 20 times. So there's nothing new you're bringing. So how much are we challenging ourselves? Yeah, to what other way can I do this? How much can we take criticism? Say this guy hates me, instead of saying this guy is looking out for me. Say no, what's wrong with my idea? I mean, how many times have we gone as creators with that idea? You're told this is off, Kwenda, you're wasting our time. Go back and think again, and go back and think again. So the difference of saying, I think we have a culture of we give up. I think in a way, give up slightly more than them. So yes, for that kind of creative whatever, we need to have. How do you not just even simply having an idea? How do you articulate that idea? Yeah. How do you coin the relevant insight that will fit to that idea? Um, and now us has similar experiences worked across. So these are that part of discipline to work. That I think we've been having a lot of problems in this industry. So I think that those are part of the hindrances why we are not occupying those seats.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. Actually, this is what has been said by almost every speaker who's been on this show. They're always saying, stay hungry, stay willing to learn, stay marketable, and always be curious to know the new thing. And then in this space is how you elevate yourself to the next level where you want to be. So I think this is a story that we are going to be having forever and ever. If you don't stay hungry, you don't occupy those spaces. If you don't communicate your creativity or communicate what you believe in a stronger way, then it becomes a whole question of why are people occupying our space. You get. So
Mm.
more questions also coming in. Let me just read another question from Atieno. She's saying, in your opinion, can creativity be taught? I love this question. Can
Can
creativity
creativity
be taught?
be?
Be taught.
Uh, Creativity can be guided, not taught. It can be guided, um, uh, and it's guided by two people. It can be guided by somebody, or you can have your own self-discipline to guide that creativity. You're either creative or not. Hiyo hata tusinini. Hiyo tusiagi. Yeah, you either have a good voice or not. But it's how you can be guided to that. So yeah,
Let
it
me
has to be
kind of
guided.
partly disagree with you about the teaching and the guiding, because
Uh-huh.
then mostly you find like the people who have like 80% talent, 20% confidence, or 20% talent, 80% confident. Or I agree with the part of guiding. Sorry, there's a part for guiding, but then there's also a part for the effort that is made towards it. Because then you find a creative, the way you said, like you can be creative for 20 years with only 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. Like much as it cannot be taught, but then we have schools teaching about film. We have schools teaching. Sorry, give me a minute. We have schools teaching about
Okay.
film. We
Okay.
have schools that
Mhm.
guide people on like acting activities. We have schools for art itself. So most of these things, even in
Yeah.
education, even the sciences, that we are taught through them. Let me just say we are guided through them because most of the work is back to me as a person to become a better person in that creative
Yeah.
space that I'm choosing. So even if
I
you're not a
think
good thing, I think it can be a good thing if you learn.
I no, no. I think that I was answering the wrong question of creativity. I thought it was about creative as being creative for advertising, not creative in terms of film, in terms of other places. So I was answering to the different question of what creativity is. But if you talk about creativity in general, of course, you're right. Filming, learning how to play the instrument, all that, yeah, editing and everything. But I'm saying in terms of conceptualization of thoughts, conceptualization of campaign ideas for advertising. That's the part I was saying. You either, and people have to realize you got different strengths. That's why you see one is very good at conceptualizing, another one has very good talent at is finding out. I'm very good at executing. Yeah, another one is very good at articulating. Um, and the same goes for art. The same goes for everything. So it's just it's finding out a role. Which part of your creativity should you be guided to?
I think Tony is frozen, or is it me?
Let me show you. Can you hear me?
Sorry, Tony, we lost you for like a second. Yes, we lost you for a while.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was saying, I thought it was the creativity. I thought it was about creativity for advertising, for conceptualizing ideas. But I agree with you. Yes, if it's about filming, it's about learning how to play an instrument. Yes, creativity can be taught in that sense. But in terms of conceptualization and everything, has to be guided, rather taught, because you have to have, as I said before in the beginning, you see, you have to have your own unique touch to it. You cannot be a photocopier or an extension of the person who's training you. Then why should you be trained in that sense? Who are you? It should guide you to find yourself, to find your distinct form. That's what I meant.
Okay. So I think Ken, who checked in as a big fan of yours, comes and says, I had a chance to work at Scanad, but I didn't get a chance to work with Tony. I don't know what this looks like. Tony, do you think you have some time to probably like have maybe a conversation with Ken for him to kind of get to experience you in person? I don't know. So Ken probably, this depends on Tony how he takes it, or if he's available, or if he's willing to have some time with you. I don't know. Tony, what do you say?
Yeah, I think Ken can reach out. We can probably, the best to work is, let's come up with a brief. Let's work together. I mean, it's the only best way. Yeah, we can do anything together.
Mm.
Can reach out to me anytime. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So one of the things that you pointed out when you talk about creativity, that long question that you've had so much about it, creativity being taught and being guided. Um, there's this thing that people say that passion driven performance. There's passion driven performance, and also there's the part for there's passion. Then there is people who just have it in them. Do those things, how do you feel about those two things? So, like, let's say someone like Ediashia, having known him, is naturally creative. Like, he can make fun out of anything. But then someone like me who's very uptight, I won't even get some jokes when they come by, you know. So, is it like, what do you think about passion driven performance and then something being in with you? Like, you being born with it. So, is it born or is it something that you can learn in the way?
I think it's a bit difficult, yeah, because you have to. It has to be something inside you. Now, passion, yes, does play a. It's passion does play a central role into how far you can go with what is inside you. Yeah, it can either go a very little and down, and but passion keeps refueling that energy of trying to push it out. But I think it has to be something fairly inside you, and maybe uh, uh, um, you have to have that basic thing, you know. Like, no matter how much I'd love to be a boxer, I was never born to be a boxer, you know. So I think you've got to search yourself inside. Then our passion will just help push it up. Yeah. Sorry, can you hear me?
Sorry, I was on mute. I forgot to unmute. Atino asks that what in your terms makes of a good a piece of good advertising? I don't understand this question very well. What makes an advertising piece good? What makes a creative work good?
Okay, it depends. Good to who? There are basically three broad meanings of advertising. There's one that is a client driven. This is what the client will say very good. There's one that's gonna drive the consumer. There's one that's gonna pick up sales in the market. That's good for the sales, for the trade. And there's that again, the one that's gonna pick up awards, you know, at Cannes and everything and all. So it's they're both those three. But for me, is that the communication you're about to create, what is it supposed to achieve? Does it achieve does it connect to the consumer? Good. How better can it be even good to be perfect? How powerful is that connection? That's what will make it even much more better. You know, like if you do the Mpango Akando, we did talk about side chicks or everything, but it connected more deeper with people. So I'm a member. It connected more deeply with people. So it's not just a connection thing. also for good whatever is if you get the right insight, how strongly and powerfully do you execute that insight is what can take it up to, can tick all the boxes straight to awards. So it's basically that if you have the right insight delivers perfect creativity. Wrong insight, no matter what you do with it, can never be good. Yep.
Mm, there's this thing about saying that the customer is always right, so the client is always right. Is it true?
No, sometimes the client has come to you because the client is expecting a communication solution. That's why the client came to you. Yeah, you can go to the doctor and you have those kind of patients to the doctor and say, I'm feeling a bit weak. I think it's malaria. Then the doctor says, let me pimba you hata sio malaria, labda ni HIV hata or labda ni kitu ingine. So you can't always say that you're always right. We are supposed to be. It's when we don't. If you don't deliver to the client strongly about what you believe and the answer is, then I really hate those people who believe that the client is always right. The client is ready to learn with you, and in most cases, the client will start respecting you because then every time they come with a communication requirement, they tell you want to go this way. Many times in my career, you say no. If you go this way, this and this and this is going to happen. Then, oh shit! Wow, thanks. Okay, let's go back and think again. You see, and that way the client keeps trusting you. And then whatever brand you're working on, research on other things around that brand, other competitive markets in other regions and everything, so that by the time the client now believes you should get to a level the client should believe I cannot do without this creative, because this creative is always right. The client should always feel without this person, I don't feel comfortable if this person is not working on it. And we see it a lot in this industry where the client is telling the agency, guys, save time, just give those guys that brief, because we want to get it right. It's going to my boss. Because by then you've already developed that kind of trust for that. And when you develop that kind of trust, is even a trust of they say that even the agency that employs you will go like, we can't get rid of this person. This person has such a tight grasp on the accounts that is working on, such a tight understanding. The client should actually be always coming to you for guidance. I remember a long time, most clients when they used to come to the agency, they used to wear their Sunday best. They are coming to a creative place. They are coming to be wowed with ideas. Yeah, so I don't believe the client is always right. It's a teamwork. Yep.
I actually agree with that on you with you on that, because sometimes the idea that I have as the client is not really human centric. It's not focused to my audience. But then, being like an agency, you've had experience with different kind of like demographics. You can tell that, no, even like a font, your font is not communicating well. I think we should do this. So I feel like as a creative, it's really key for us to be able to question these briefs, to guide, because by the time this person is coming to you, they're coming to you because first they need you. If they could do it themselves, they wouldn't have come to you. And they're here because they value your creativity, they value your line of thinking. So I think it's more of confidence, being able to understand that this person believes in my ability. Let me just bring something up again. So the past weeks again, because we've been having different guests coming in.
Sorry, lost you.
Sorry, am I still there? Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yep.
Okay, I'd give an example of the ad that I've liked the most in the past is the one for Kenyan to the core, Tasker. You get, like, when I look at it,
Mhm.
it's like three words, but it really speaks to me as a Kenyan. I'm just like, I see that Tasker, I see the whole African spirit coming from the point of by us. Yeah, that song with Wangeshi, like the whole journey. I feel like this ad is speaking to me. But if you gave it to Tasker themselves to make that ad, they would speak love. Tasker is the best beer, it has 80% reward alcohol. Okay, think what? Like they start communicating something that the customer does not care about. So basically, as a creator, should be open to also be able to use our talents to be of value to
Yes.
the people that we work with. And Ken also
Yes.
agrees, says that the client should always seek advice from the creative. That is what should be like. Guys, keep on your comments coming in. Keep on asking your questions. Tony is here with us for I think 10 more minutes for us to close this. But meanwhile, let me just bring something up again. So the past weeks again, because we've been having different guests coming in. So last
Mhm.
week we weren't able to host because of some things that you couldn't control. But then the guest that
Mhm.
came before, he was telling us always stay marketable. Like the day you join the place you want to work at should be the day you plan to leave. What do you think about that?
No, because you're joining because joining a place is not the end goal. Yeah, you're saying that I'm joining there as a junior copywriter, but I want to be in 3 years. I want to be this. In 3 years, I want to be this. Or in 2 years, in such. I've always had I think since university, I've always had. For me, my cycle is normally, what do I want to achieve in 3 years? Every 3 years, I question myself. Yeah, I may not be necessarily in work place or such, even in my personal life or anything. Start having that, so that in 3 years you can keep reviewing yourself. How far are you doing? And when you join that place, you first want to be, instead of joining to plan to leave, join to plan to head that place or to reach the highest level of that place on your way out. Yeah, that's what you should be aiming for.
So basically, join somewhere when you have the goals that you want to achieve at a certain period. So you just don't join like it's the final destination for you. So it's just like it's a means to an end. It's not the end itself. So I like
Yes.
that. So Ken also
Life
asks,
yeah.
how do
Yeah,
young
go on.
creatives grow in an agency environment that doesn't give you a chance to grow? It's a very good question.
Um, Two ways. The obvious one is leave the agency, go to a better one. Number two is grow within yourself. You have to do um, yeah, you don't have to do the briefs of that particular whatever. Create your own campaigns on the site, something that you can keep in the desk or anything. So it's about growing your, because your creative muscle has to keep pumping. Your creative muscle has to keep doing that exercise. Yeah. So in any environment, as you seek new ways of going to go there, and the beauty is that the agency, as you know it, the new norm of the agency structures are changing so much. So the future is different, especially for post-COVID. It's going to be very, very different. I think I'm sensing we're going to see a very, very different formations. More of consultancy rather than the agencies. The agencies have realized now, when people started working at home, did we actually need this client service? Because now we are meeting this client directly. Do we need this space? No. Like in our place, they've sold off even plus the cars. So who else do they need and they don't need around? So the more need of that, I think, all in all, the most important people who still will be, you can get rid, in an agency, you can get rid of the client service because the creative can talk directly to the client. You may not be able to get rid of the client, but the person you cannot get rid of in the creative industry is the creative himself or herself. So that's job assurance. Look at our place, we've lost drivers, stickers, receptionists, whatever, did the others, but creatives have to be at the core of it. Yeah.
So I think Ken was following up on his question saying that most agencies want to familiar young creatives in terms of salary. You're never given a chance to participate in pitches or also maybe sometimes ideas, like having the part of, but I think this has been partially answered because being there for 20 years doesn't mean that your experience is worth 20 years. This is a very nice fact. I'm gonna keep this for eternity. Anyway, that aside, the next one, do you ever get discouraged in your career path, Tony? What was it about that helped you bounce back?
I think, I've gotten discouraged to a level of, I've even typed a number of resignation letters when I get really pissed off, when I get really passionate about what I believe, and these people are not seeing it. Have gone through those paces, and people who worked with me, they told me first cool down because my fuse gets very short. But what makes my fuse short is when somebody doesn't understand the logic, not how the person looks or how the person dresses. So that's what pisses me off. How do I bounce back? Is take a walk out a bit, do something else away from that for 2, 3, or 4, 5 days or something, then come back. You just have to learn how to empty your mind, so that even whatever that was blocking you, you empty it back and you go back on the road. So yes, you have to do that. And I think my battery is 8% now. Anyway, let's continue. 8%, yeah.
Oh, you don't have power. You just told me power is you don't have power now. Okay, I'll just make it short also because I will just finalize in a few. So This is a very nice question. How many years of experience do I need to become an art director?
I think it depends on your talent. I mean, how good are you? You got very young people who, if you look at the awards, even Cannes and such, yeah, very young guys, probably been in it for 2-3 years, but the amount of talent activity that person has is already an art director. But in the normal chance or anything is, I'll say, uh, it's the question would be, how many hours will you pump in those years? Will help me calculate how many years. You can do average within 5 years of somebody really pumping can be an art director. But now it depends again how many hours are in those years that is asking. Yep.
Do you believe in 10,000 hours?
What is 10,000 hours?
It's usually said that you need 10K hours to be able to be very good at your craft. If you want to be a good writer, you have to invest 10,000 hours in your writing. If you want to be a good actor, 10,000 hours. That's what makes you a pro in your space. Do you believe in that concept?
Just believe in the amount of talent and passion you have. I mean, you just hit it out to the first go. Sometimes you need those 10,000 hours. The amount of the talent and the passion you have for what you have. That's what takes it to be good.
Okay. So I don't want us to lose you because your phone is going off. But maybe usually when we finish this conversation, usually ask people to the one thing if you were to do right, what would it be? Based on your all the years of experience from comedy, parenting to business, employment, what would you do right that you think through and feel like, let me do this a different way?
My life, what I do right, I should have gone into private. I should have done something bigger with Ridiculous as a brand name. I should have had my own agency and pushing up purely Kenyan and all. That's one thing that I still feel is a gap that I never quite lived up to. Yep.
Okay, that was a very good discussion. I really hope we can have you again sometime in the future
That's how.
because I don't think we really had enough conversation at this stage. So thank you so much for your time. So guys, before we leave, just keep on asking your questions. Mr. Njuguna is with us, and we'll always keep on asking those questions to bring them back to you on our Zero Shields TV page on Instagram and Facebook. Just stay with us. Thank you so much, Tony, for creating time. Say hi to your family and QC for life. Her name is QC.
QC to be. so,
Yes.
so, okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.